Okay, I'm going to go through the complete process that I'm using for bending these tubes now. Like I said, I've changed from a 375 to 625 or 600 to 625. Somewhere in there is what the radius is set at now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over on the lathe and I'm going to cut off a piece exact length that I'm using. So over here. Hopefully I can get the camera kind of focused into where I can't really see the back side of the. So I'll unclamp it and I'll pull it out here. And what I've been doing is touching off, and I want them all the same length, so I'm just doing the same process for each one. And my little parting tool, I just touch the end and I zero out my carriage. And then I'm going 1 inch, 2 inches, and then 1, 2, 300 exactly. And I'm parting it off right there. Okay, so now we got the length that I need. And from there I go over to anneal it. I'll go over to the little workbench here. I can set it up over here without tipping over. And okay, I'll light my torch. Sometimes it's a bugger to light. Come on. Come on. Naturally, I got the camera going. Usually it takes me a couple tries and it takes off. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on with my torch first. I just bought this one. I kind of like the size of it, but I'm not liking how it's lighting. Okay, starting to PO me now. I'll take my other little there. Oh, for crying out loud. Now, I'll see if I can get everything into view here. And what I've been doing is sticking them on a wire and then just basically heating them up. I heat them up to cherry red. I tried just a dull red. That's not good enough. They bend and form a lot nicer if it's heated up to a cherry red. And the end that's the furthest away doesn't have to be as hot because that is the end that actually stays straight. But I heat it up as you can see. I'm sure you can see that. Cherry red and plunging into cold water. And that one's ready to go. So we'll go back over here. Hope you guys ain't getting dizzy. I could edit this stuff out, I guess. real pain in the butt to that editor to split and cut stuff out. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack it with cornmeal, and I found that I take a little dab of clay and just stick in the end of it, and what that's going to do is that's going to keep the cornmeal from coming out. So I got a punch that fits in the inside. Go down and pack that down a little bit, and then I take a cup of cornmeal here, and I just fill that tube up. Come on. Set that over there. Punch. And here I just give her a few whacks. Pack her down good in there. Fill it up again. One more time. And this time I just pack it down just a little bit by hand. And then I take another little dab of clay. It's just modeling clay, old modeling clay. I use it for controlling the coolant from running off the vise in the wrong spots. It's just children's clay. Okay, so that tube is now ready to be formed. So we'll go over to the mill here. Go. Set you up here somewhere. That's not a good spot. This would be a good spot if I could. I'll just try to hold you here. And I just swing that out of the way. And now I take and I'll stick this in here. And I got a dowel pin clamped up against it. So I just slide it in up against that dowel pin. And I put a little dab of Vaseline on that block. It doesn't want to slide real well. So hopefully this will work with one-handed. Come on. The reason I'm backing off is because it's like that. When that happens, it messes up the end of it. Oh, darn it. I can't do it one-handed, so. But you get the idea of it. If I hold it in here and then do that, then I can get away with it. Let's see if I can set you down here. Just not enough room on my table here. I might even have to well, we're up to the line. That should be pretty darn close. These ends, I'm going to come back and probably trim them all so they're all the exact same length from here up, from the center line up. So I'm going to make a little fixture to hold them, and then just take a little end mill and trim those lengths. So I'll get back over here and fish out all of the cornmeal, and oh, here we go. I lost my little scratcher. Dig out the the clay first, the clay plug, and then dump the cornmeal out. The bends seem to come out pretty nice. They're not that bad. I mean, they deform very little now with this cornmeal in there. Oop. The reason I hang them on a wire, I tried holding it with a needle nose, and what happens is, as it heats up, everything expands except for under that needle nose pliers, and you end up with this. It cracks right away because that's being held straight with a needle nose. So I hung it on a wire. It works much better. I don't end up with cracks in the end then. Oh, darn furnace is just kicked in now, blowing everything around. Blowing right on me from up above here. It's below zero outside again today. Not very nice. That's okay, it's warm in here. Okay, so I'll continue. I need to do about 4 or 5 more. Do a couple extras, and then I will get back. Okay, I'm over here on the mill. I'm going to mill the tops of these tubes from the center line down all the same, so that when I put them on the silver solder them onto the manifold plate, they'll all be the same. They won't be staggered in and out. The center line should be all the same on going down. So I'm over on the mill here, and what I've done, if I can get you lined up here, I got a kind of a funky tripod here. Get up my other tripod. But what I've got is just a couple parallels and a piece of a stock in here. Let me get you up on top here. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I got you sitting on the vise now. But anyway, I'm going to take and mill the center line from the center line up to here all the same on all of them, so that they'll all line up on the engine at the same height. So I've just got a parallel down underneath, and I got just a piece of scrap aluminum in there, and I'm ever so lightly clamping them. I don't want to crush them, so they're just lightly clamped. I got an 1/8 inch end mill in there, 2 flute, nice sharp one. And we'll just run around. I've got the height set already at where I want. Just make sure that I'm down against the and we'll just carefully, very carefully run around the tube, cutting the length here. Can't get a tube bender or a tube cutter in there because it's too short. I could have went on the sander, I suppose, sanded them. And that's just to ensure that the heights of them all will be the same here. So now the height from here to here will be the same on all of them. So I'll continue to do all of those, and then I'll get ready to. I gotta build a fixture to hold them. I want to have these angled at about a 15 to 20 degrees, so I'll probably use the same block and just mill slots in it, and then put them all in. Mill the slots the distance apart, the same as what's on the manifold plate. That'll line them all up, and then I can lay that on the manifold plate up on top and silver solder them in place. So that's where I'm heading. So we'll come back when I'm a little further along.